Welcome to another episode of Elite Zone, everybody. We're starting our, what is it today? Thursday already? We're starting our Thursday morning off with some laughs here. I am Max Bergstrom, your sometimes, well, most of the time, humble host of Elite Zone. And I've got with me two very special VIPs. I've got Justin Hancy, which we just had on the show last week. And we were talking about, the story of the Agent Elite CEO and the day in and day out. If you haven't checked that out, go back and listen to that. But now we're going to dive into some stats. I've also got Shauna Stevens, who is the general manager of Agent Elite. Both these guys are some high caliber, intelligent folks. And their dry wit and charm is next level. Justin and Shauna, how you guys doing this morning?
Riveting stuff.
Yeah. We're doing great. Still waking up from the President's Club.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Are you guys still swaying back and forth from?
My swaying stopped yesterday.
Gotcha.
So I was swaying a good 2 days after.
Gotcha.
I'm good to go on another. We went on a cruise, so if you didn't know.
Yeah, just to fill everybody in.
A little weekend cruise to Ensenada, Mexico. And I'm good. Luckily, I don't get seasick or anything.
I didn't on the boat. I got seasick after we were off the boat.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that's even called.
That's something else. That's a you thing.
That's a you problem.
So some one of the somebody was telling me that in like the Alaska cruise, if it's really choppy, the boats can like rock so much that you gotta like hold on to the railings. I don't know how comfortable.
I think that I would have got off that boat real quick.
Just jumped in the water?
I probably.
All right. Yeah.
Jumped on an iceberg.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, we're going to get into some stats here. We're going to be talking about email marketing. We're going to talk about SEO, social media, websites, omnichannel marketing, text marketing, branding, ads, kind of like the whole gamut. But I want to start this off with it never ceases to amaze me how many people, real estate agents, I mean, just businesses in general, when you ask them, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And, like, for example, have you tried email marketing? Oh, and they say, yeah, I've tried it. That doesn't work. And when you ask them, okay, well, what's your experience been? How often have you done it? What kind of things are you seeing? They don't necessarily have an idea what the benchmark data says or what the statistics say. And so it's kind of like, you try something a few times, and if you don't get the greatest results right away, it's like, well, that doesn't work. And so I always like to bring up the numbers because I think it's important. And I'm ready to dive in. But before we do that, what kind of experience, running this company, talking with people, have you had a lot of agents say, well, we've tried social media, that just doesn't work, and we've tried Google ads and that doesn't work? What kind of feedback or experience, or what do agents tell you?
That's an everyday thing, right?
Everyday
thing when we're talking about, oh, I've done that, I've tried it in the past, and it doesn't matter what type of marketing, they'll tell you they've tried it doesn't work, I don't get business that way. And so what it comes okay.
You're shouting so much on the cruise.
And so what it comes down to is like change. Is not understanding or wanting to change. Me trying something once, I didn't get it, then it doesn't work, right? And so it's the psychology around that for everybody. It's the same thing with kids, right? A lot of times kids give up. I tried to ride the bike once, I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. I tried to write that, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. They throw their tantrum, right? And they kind of give up, and it's hard to bring them back because all they remember is that feeling of failure. And so people are afraid to fail. If I try something, it didn't work, I fail, I don't want to go down that road again.
Right.
Also, I would say like the lack of experience in that field has something to do with it too, because let's be honest, the real estate agents, they know all about real estate, not much about marketing or websites or coding or A/B testing or like how to do things in a correct way or in a different way than what they're thinking, right? So what they're thinking is probably, okay, I'm going to send out an email that just simply says, call me when you're ready to buy a home. Well, that's probably not going to work. So going through and being able to recognize that failure is okay and going through like different versions of that email marketing and until you get it right, and then also contacting the experts like yourself, you know. I think that's the experts do it in a certain way, in a certain they have certain strategies that you know, they've been developing for decades now. You know, .com bubble was year 2000. We're 2023, so I mean, everybody has kind of developed the right way to email market if that's the way that you want to go. There's plenty other routes that you can go as far as marketing, but just saying it doesn't work, I think that's just giving up. Really.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and you know, like email marketing across all industries, I want to say like the ROI on it is like 4,400% or something like that. Like it does still work. I've had people say, well, I hate it when people email me, so I'm not going to do it because you know, that never works for me. And I always explain, well, I get it, but just because it doesn't work for you or you don't like, right. And also, you know, it's a preference thing. Like when people email me, unless it catches my eye, I probably won't open it. But if you text me, I'll answer you right back. You know, different. And then I've had other people say, God, don't call me, just email. This is the best way to get a hold of me is emailing me. That's how I want to communicate. So, you know, we'll get into the omni-channel approach, but something interesting here, you know, open rates for real estate industry emails typically hover around 15 to 25%. So 15 to 25% of buyers or sellers, what have you, are opening emails sent. Click-through rates, 1 to 3%. But the real kicker here is to personalize your messaging, right? So to your point, Justin, when you're like, how you doing? This is agent. Call me when you're ready to sell your home. Thanks, bye. Like, there's no value in that. It's just extremely generic and templated. So, you know, I don't know what percentage of agents are really diving into the personalization and like segmenting their lead list so their messaging is crafted more effectively. But I mean, if people are opening emails at 15 to 25%, but the click-through rate is only 1 to 3%, the way to increase that click-through rate to me would be to have better personalization. Would you guys agree?
Absolutely.
And it kind of goes back to your point of like 15 to 20% open rate. Okay, we'll play the numbers. If I send to 100, 15 or 20 will open, 1% of those are going to click. Right? Yeah. If I send to 1,000, now I'm increasing my odds.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean go out and buy just some random email list, right? But it's if you segment your database, if you are segmenting it correctly, learn to talk, that'll help, right? But I think that a lot of people just think, oh, just add to my database, and I'll just blast it out to everybody to increase your odds. Yeah, that might work a little, but then you're going to get that random person that's like, that's not relevant to me.
Totally.
So I'll delete you a couple times, and then when I've deleted you a couple times, I know, okay, I don't want to do business with you, so I'm just going to spam you next time, just so I don't have to do the work, right? And so when you segment, that all goes back to making sure as an agent, you are actually inside your CRM constantly, right? You need to be updating your CRM every day with your leads because people's behaviors change. Things happen in life. Maybe I have to move to a different area now. Or maybe there was a divorce in the family. Or there could be so many different variables. Maybe someone lost a job, so now we're not pre-qualified for this, but we're pre-qualified for this. So you need to be in there communicating with your database and keeping it up to date. I kind of always say a CRM is only as good as the person using it. So if you're not actually using it and you're just hoping that these email blasts are going to work, well, that's where a lot of your business is faulting.
I think that goes back to how far we've come too since, like, let's say 2010 or even 2015, you know, where email blasts were the thing that people were all talking about. That's the best way to get in front of 1,000 people, right? Well, it's also the worst way because then, like you were saying, you get in front of people who aren't interested in the content of that email, and they're marking you as spam. You'll never see them again, or they'll never see you again. Whereas now, if you have tags associated with each and every lead on there, you're keeping it up to date. Like Shauna was saying, then you have specific campaigns, email campaigns for each specific tag, and then you're never going to get. Well, I can't say never, but you're never gonna get marked as spam.
It's much less likely.
Much less likely
because you're
marked as
taught.
spam.
If you know you're speaking to somebody who is of a certain age and income, and then they're looking into downsizing, you're not going to send them just a random.
I'm going to send you $1 million home when your budget is $600,000.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the biggest thing with technology now is like, yeah, there's a lot of companies that can just do these blasts and everything, but it's how are you segmenting it and how are you creating a message that's going to be different for that buyer or seller and sending them what they would be interested in.
Mm-hmm. Right, and not to mention, spam filters. I mean, if you just blast out random stuff to a whole bunch of people that doesn't speak to them, they're eventually going to flag you as spam, and the more you get flagged as spam, then what happens? You land in everybody's spam filters.
Yeah, you can't send anybody.
You're done, right?
And speaking of that point too, I don't want to. I'm not here to like sell Agent Elite or anything. I'm just here to give good information. Hopefully, somebody sees some value in it. But here, and I'm sure other places too, like we have that campaign filter to where you can send out blast emails, but like really, it's set up for okay. If somebody visits my site and they're looking at $1 million homes with pools in a certain area, they're only going to get emails regarding $1 million homes with pools in that certain area, as opposed to $500,000 homes with no pools.
Exactly.
Where they're marked as spam and throw us out and we'll never see them again. So, I mean, that's the important part of it.
Right. So then, agents listening to this, if you guys want to have better success with email marketing, you need to segment your lists into different targets and personalize. Speak to their fears, their goals, their dreams. Keep a contact record in your CRM that says, X, Y, and Z just moved, or, I touched base with them last week and they're, the more you know about them, the more effective you will be.
The more the CRM knows about them, the more effective you'll be.
The more, there it is. The more the CRM knows about them. Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you know. It matters what exactly.
I'll forget as soon as I write it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. So then moving on to search engine optimization, which, this one, a lot of times when I talk to agents and I'll say, SEO, and they're like, I don't even know what that is. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
SEO?
Yeah, SEO. I'm not knocking anybody at all because, I get this stuff is a learning curve, but 93% of experiences begin with a search engine. And I want to say it's like even more than that for like buying a home. Buyers want to be educated. Sellers want to be educated. Google is a gigantic knowledge base, and people in certain areas are asking questions about how do I use my home equity? Why do I need a home inspection? Why do I even really need a real estate agent? X, Y, and Z. So if you're not using SEO and keywords and making sure that your website is rich with that stuff, you're doing yourself and your business a disservice. The next stat down here, organic search leads have a 14.6% close rate, while outbound leads or cold calling and direct mail have a 1.7% close rate. Now, to speak to that, these are from like the end of 2021. All right, so I don't know how much that has changed, but organic search leads. Like, let's talk a little bit about the importance. And I know Agent Elite places a heavy importance on SEO. Why is that?
It's because that's the first thing that someone's going to, right? A lot of people you'll talk to, like real estate, they all go to Zillow, they all go to realtor.com. Well, the only reason is because Zillow and realtor.com are using SEO to drive traffic to them. Mm-hmm. And then all they do is take that traffic that they got and sell it back to the real estate agent in the form of a lead. So it goes down to having that omnipresence, right? I'm not going to put all my eggs in the email basket or the SEO basket, but I am going to, diversify it. And you need to be, if you want to really be successful, you need to work on all factors of your business, right? SEO is a huge one, especially in your local area. If you want to be that local go-to agent, capitalize on what the stats are saying and use it to your benefit, especially when other agents aren't using it right now.
Yep. Or when an agent says like, well, I've got my broker website, so if somebody Googles me, that'll come up. And I'm like, I know that, but they're not going to Google you. they're going to Google homes in area
Yeah.
at price point or homes
The
near.
only person that's going to Google you is the person that's referred to you.
Exactly.
Right? And then you want to make sure that you have that presence on everything that pulls you in and only you.
Imagine if somebody refers you and then they go look at schools in this area and you pop up because you have a whole couple blogs or articles on
Hey, I
schools
know
in
that
that
guy.
area, and you're all of a sudden the professional, real estate agent in that area.
Yep.
And that's where it's kind of, I can see, if I was a real estate agent or just a business owner in general, really, it's hard to keep all that stuff up to date and then also be a real estate agent at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's a lot. I mean, SEO for companies is a full-time job sometimes. So, and it's ever evolving, it's ever changing. You got to stay up to date with all of this stuff. I mean, at some point, SEO is going to be kind of you're going to need to be set up for AI to come up in AI search results as well. So, I mean, like, you want to blow a realtor's mind, I mean, bring that up, and then they'll be like, okay, let's leave it to the professionals.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to your point, schools, like you want to use SEO to not become only an authority on real estate, but on a community in general. And that's really the biggest leverage point, because the more you know about the homes, the people, what they want, people moving in, where they're moving from, where the schools are, the amenities, the shopping, the lifestyle, so it's not just, position myself as the best real estate agent, it's position myself as the community expert, and you can do that with SEO.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's tying into all the changes with SEO in the future is really to provide a better consumer experience. So a lot of, you said something earlier of like, I don't open emails like that. That's not how I do it. Yeah, but it's the consumer experience and the tendency. And the reason all of these things have evolved is because the consumer tendency has evolved. And so you need to tap into the consumer tendency and what majority of them are doing in order to capture that audience from an SEO standpoint, from an email standpoint.
Yep, consumer centric. Exactly. Okay, now I'm here just so you guys know, this is me rubbing my hands together in excitement. I'm going to talk a little bit about social media. This is one that people are so across the board with. I've got, agents that are always, shooting video content, and they're just doing fun, silly things. They got their brand pillars all set out. They're, they're having fun, new creative ideas, and not spending thousands and thousands of dollars. It's not, too terribly hard to do. It just takes getting in the habit. And then you've got the agents that are just reposting all the stuff that their brokerages give them. And they're just I don't want anybody to know anything about me, and social media doesn't work, and isn't Instagram for pictures, and isn't TikTok for kids, and all that kind of stuff. So again, it's
you have the one that wants to boycott it completely.
Yeah. No, I just do referral based, and I don't do anything on social media. Look, guys, you got to know what the numbers are, know where the attention is. If I told people that the most attention right now is on Facebook Reels and TikTok, and you're not doing it, you can't really tell me, well, there's that doesn't work. There's no reason why I would do that, because I can show you the data that says no, that's where the attention is. Now, if you don't want to do it, that's fine, but you can't really dispute the numbers. And I do see here, it says real estate agents who use social media as a significant part of their marketing efforts have been shown to sell properties up to 68% faster than those who do not. So why do you guys think that would be?
It's the consumer tendency. That's where the majority of your consumers are spending their time. You need to be in that bucket, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like if somebody was if you knew all of your clients were going to be at, let's say, the farmer's market this weekend, would you go as an agent? Most of them are probably going to say yeah.
Yeah, I'd be there.
And then you break it down, it's why would you be there though? Because my clients are going to be there, and I want to, get in front of them. Well, your clients are on social media. It's a free platform.
Exactly.
And they spend the time there. So you don't have to invest thousands of dollars.
Right.
You don't have to invest money, period. You can invest your time.
Yep.
But you want to be where the majority of consumers are. And again, omnipresence. I'm going to have a little bit in SEO, a little bit of email marketing, a little bit in social, so that the person that's not on social does email. The person that's not on email does social. You want to pick up
Exactly.
and, don't leave any stone unturned.
Exactly.
I think a lot of that too, it all depends, for me, it depends on the person. Like if you're driven, if you're young, if you're out there and you're like, I want to be big, I want to be a rock star in real estate in my area, then yes, we got to do all of this stuff. But if you're just a part-time person, you're like, I'm selling 1 or 2 homes a year, like, I'm retired, then, who am I to tell you you have to spend 8 hours a day posting on 8 different channels? But for, everybody who's really trying to make it, which should be 90% of the people probably in real estate, you should be posting on, talked about Gary Vee last week, saw another one this morning, I'll send to you both, where he's saying, you got to post 5-6 times, not just on, Instagram or Facebook, but on 8 different platforms, 5 or 6 times, and all of them. I think you mentioned Omnichannel.
Yep. We'll definitely get into that, but for sure, consistency is key at scale, right? Like you have to be able to push yourself, but then consistent, and it takes time. I work with a lot of agents that are like, for the past 3 months, I've been doing everything you say, and like nothing's happening. And I'm like, I know, man. There's no shortcut.
Consistency and patience.
This is going to take some time.
This is a long-term game. This isn't the immediate gratification. You want immediate gratification? Go dump $10,000 in Zillow. And find a deal that's going to close. Right.
And that can be done.
Can happen.
Less than $10,000.
But if you really want it, you need to invest to eat up most of that market, right? But social media, it's definitely, it shows you, because at the end of the day, people are choosing to do business with you on your personal level and on your relationship. You've got to share yourself. You can't just hide in the background, right? We'll talk to people like, I don't want to be out there. It's like, but you're a real estate agent. Like, you have to be in the
public.
be
out there.
It's like
you have to be.
Right?
It's fully networking. It's just at a different level. You've got LinkedIn, you've got Twitter, you've got all of these avenues that you can be networking on to pull in that one person that might be interested that didn't see you.
I think that's the most important part too, is like people do business with people that they trust.
Yeah.
And so you can instantly show people that they can trust you by, posting just a quick 30-second video of you and your new sellers or buyers that you just did work with. And it doesn't have to be like anything elaborate. It can be raw, like we're doing.
You could post something about taking your dog for a walk. Like
you could come on a podcast like this and talk about yourself for 45 minutes and
there's so many different avenues that you could utilize with social media. It's not just one category on social media anymore. Social media is like the umbrella to everything else underneath it.
Yep. And Pete, I've also heard, agents say, well, I don't have 50,000 followers. And I'll be like, that doesn't matter. Let's say you have 500 followers and, they're people they're people in a specific area, X, Y, and Z. You got 500 people, you put out one piece of content, and 500 people see it. How many doors can you knock? Can you knock 500 doors in the 15 minutes it takes you to shoot something, add captions real quick, and post it out there? Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily going to, get you a listing, but the point is it's a free platform for a potential of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to see your content, should you put, the right time and effort into actually doing it.
And let's be realistic too. You're not even trying to get millions of or hundreds of thousands. You're trying to get like 1,000 people.
The right people.
You're trying to find one person that's going to, bite.
Yeah, and we're talking about being like a professional in your area. Well, in our area in Miramar, how many people can there be in here? Maybe 50,000. So, and not all of them are home buyers. So now you're looking at maybe, you need to gain the attention of 2% of the people that are here instead of millions of people. So if you get discouraged by only 500 views, be happy with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a challenge. Is everybody thinks social media and they think influencers, and like you need millions and millions.
Right.
Okay, but the millions, like we're not trying to become an influencer where that becomes your job now.
Right.
Right. You're trying to create that brand consistency and exposure.
Yep.
Where anywhere someone turns, they're gonna see you.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing is like different engagement.
Yep.
You might have 200, you might have 500, you might have 20 people following you, but what are you doing to get somebody to want to follow you? If you're not posting anything, why am I going to follow you?
Right. I love the idea of
My
a
mom
video.
might follow me, but nobody else is going to follow and like my post.
Mom ain't going to buy a home from you right now.
Yeah. Even mom's got friends online though, you know, and they'll see that she likes something. But I do like the idea of even just posting a video of you walking your dogs. I mean, how many dog people are out there in just your area?
In fact, the most engagement that I get on any social media post, most of the time, like the business stuff I put up, people are like, ah. But if it's like, you know, a picture of me and my kids sloppily eating lunch together, they're like, oh my God, that's so good. But the thing is like, you know, and that's the other thing is, I always explain, you know, just like you talk about going to the farmer's market to get in front of people. So at the farmer's market, you don't go there and meet somebody and say what you want to say, and then when they say something back, you don't respond.
Yeah.
So, you know, like agents would be like, I'm posting, it's not working, and I go and there's all these unread comments, people aren't answering, like it's a two-way street. Like you have
engage.
you got to engage with them, and then the idea is to drip them into a creative conversation. Another
tactic on that side is you'll see some of those news posts or anything where they do this picture and it has some headline, right? But you can't read about the story. It'll say, hey, check the comments for the article, right? And so it's another way to get click-throughs too. Like there's different things that you could be doing, but to go back, like post about your dogs. Maybe you're gonna go check out or review a restaurant in the local area.
Yeah.
Go do something like that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, do a picture while you're at the local car wash.
Right. And then tag them. Those businesses love that. Exactly.
And start doing something different than just, hey, you know, the home rates are at this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Awesome. All right, well, moving on to websites. I mean, I don't know if Agent Elite knows too much about websites. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be brazen and I'm going to say this, all right? And I hope I don't piss people off. But if you are a real estate agent and you don't have a website, you don't exist.
No.
You don't exist. Over 50% of buyers found their homes via the internet. Like 98% or something like that of home searches start by typing in questions on Google. You know, business cards are great, but you know, your website is like the modern business card. If you don't have a website,
I mean, at this point, don't invest in the business card. Invest in your website and your online brand.
Yes.
Because it's like 10 acts of God to get that business card back, right? And to add more to that stat, it's 100% of home buyer sellers are using the internet during the transaction. Exactly. Right? And not only that, but like, you know, we're all walking around with computers in our pockets. Yeah.
I mean, the second you meet somebody, I'm a millennial. I'm about to Google your ass. Like, the second I meet you, oh, that's awesome. Oh, you do this. Okay, super cool. Oh yeah, somebody can be like, this is my special. I'm going to turn around and Google you. I'm going to look at your social media. Consumers are now doing their own research to decide. So why don't you control the facts of your business with your website and all of your online presence and everything together instead of letting your broker tell you how you do business?
And I think a lot of things that we've already been talking about is creating legitimacy in like your own business, right? I mean, what better way to do that than to have your own website? I mean, if I'm Googling you, somehow your website better show up so I can go and see that you're actually a real estate agent instead of a plumber who just does it on the side once a year or something like that. Or when you do go to someone's social media after looking them up and it's like they haven't posted for 3 years. Are you in business? Are you out of business? I can't find your website. Oh, I found Keller Williams or Coldwell, whatever. But do I trust that? And it doesn't look like the trust factor. If you say you're a full-time real estate agent and I Google you and you don't have a website, that immediately tells me... Or even an old one, like if I'm looking at something with, square pictures all over the place. Still using Flash. It's very similar, yes. A lot of people don't even know what that is now, but
Right.
it's very similar to SEO, where it's ever evolving and ever changing. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm looking for anything at all and I see a 10-year-old website, that doesn't exude a lot of trust or
Excitement or
anything that you're even keeping up with the times.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't show that you put effort into presenting your business well, like that sends a psychological cue to like, well, if I work with this person, like how well are they going to represent me?
Yeah. If
You know?
you want to capture, more listings, sellers, right? The first thing that they are trained on any blog out there to ask is like, how are you going to market me? What are you doing for your marketing?
Exactly.
And why would I choose you if you can't even market yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So guys, just if you only have a broker provided website and that's what you're using, that's fine. But I would really encourage you to get your own website. There's so many more benefits. You can't leverage SEO with a broker provided website.
Yeah, you'll never be found on if somebody's searching on Google on your broker's
Yeah.
site, and I'm sure you're appreciative that at least your brokerage gives you a website, but there's no SEO value. to
Right.
that.
Yeah, like how is it separating you from every other agent in that brokerage?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's going to be the biggest thing, because if I go to your brokerage website, I now have access to the thousands of agents under your brokerage. And if I didn't like your haircut that day when you took the picture and I like someone else's, you might have just sent me to another person.
Right.
That brings us to another topic. You better get a good haircut, right?
Better get a good
Yeah.
haircut.
You should have a good haircut.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have a good haircut, it's got to be like your thing.
Oh
The
yeah.
mullet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rocking the
exactly. Right.
Everybody's got mullets now. They're back
I know.
in.
They are
Back.
back. In fact, funny, quick little story. I was back in Minnesota for my little sister's high school graduation. I've got brothers and sisters that are significantly younger than me.
All the
'cause
high
I'm
schoolers have them.
Dude, they came in short shorts. Like the dudes had like the shorter shirts. They had the dangly earrings.
You got the
Dude,
80s are back.
Yeah.
And I'm looking and I'm like, what is this? And I looked at my little sister and she's like, this is what's in right now. And she goes, this, and she like does like a up and down thing. I was wearing like
Yeah.
a bat, looking like Eminem back in 2002. She's like, this is not in anymore. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, oh my God,
You're
like
old.
I'm old.
Yeah.
Really. So
felt that
again,
way for a long time.
keep up with the times, right?
Right.
Don't go get a mullet. We're not
Oh.
saying go get a mullet, but you keep up with the times. Or I want to go into branding, because that's another thing. I remember if you're a real estate agent, that's great. But what else about you feeds into your brand? For example, I have a real estate license that I've never used because I just wasn't a very good agent. That's my own personal story. But I was at a
Wait, you're saying that you can't just get a license and become very successful?
I thought I had it made.
that's all it
I was going to get me a real estate license, and I was going to be the next Grant Cardone in like
Right.
6 months, until I realized that the reality of the situation is it doesn't quite work like that.
All right.
But the reason I bring that up is because when I first moved out here, I was at a brokerage called Benyon DeVille, and there was 2 guys there, and one of them was like, just make yourself as general as possible, get at least one suit, look presentable, and then, like to the masses. And then I had another guy who was like, no, dude, like you got like longer hair, you got earrings, you got tattoos, like you're a musician. Be like the rock star. Like find people in your community where you can, start to let them know and like use that as a point to your brand. Because you may not be right for everyone, but if you laser in and niche in and your brand speaks to a certain demographic, then once you catch on there and build some credibility, you can start to broaden out. So when I see real estate content and it's the guy in the suit with the haircut and the sold sign and the clipboard, immediately I just think like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like right off the
not
bat.
you.
It's not you, right?
Yeah.
So how important is you being your brand? Why is that so important?
Well, unless you're like a successful actor or something, or like some like CIA spy,
I am a CIA spy.
You would have to act that random person constantly, and so now you're keeping up with lies of who you aren't, right? And then we've all tried.
That sounds exhausting, doesn't it?
We've all tried it, right? When you go into a big meeting or something, like be like this, but it's uncomfortable, and then you forget and you slip, and you're like, "What's going on?" Right?
And you're saying because you are the business.
You are the business.
24/7.
Yeah.
So be yourself.
Be yourself. People are gonna trust you. Be genuine. Be yourself. Also, the pandemic, COVID, I don't know if anybody knows about that thing. That kind of changed the way a lot of dressing happens in the world these days. Like,
Thank God.
Right? We're not all uptight and in a suit and tie. Like, yes, there is a time and a place when you need that.
Yeah, we're not saying don't dress to impress.
Right?
Like, that's not
but
the message.
You don't have to be in a suit and tie to do that. You can be you, right? So be you. You can figure out if you're around musicians, be around musicians, network with them. If you're in a luxury area, like figure out that luxury presence type of thing. So there's so many different niche opportunities.
Yep.
Just be you. Stop trying to fake it.
Put it into your brand.
And the more you fake it on that side, the more you're not genuine. And people can see right through that.
They totally can. They totally can.
I think that's very similar to like social media and SEO. So if we talk about SEO, you don't want to make sure your website is optimized for the entire United States.
Yeah.
Because you don't work the entire United States, right? You work, in our case, Miramar and San Diego. So you want to make sure that you are, your SEO is optimized for that area.
The local area.
And social media is the same exact thing. Being you, kind
Share
of drills
events.
you down into like your type of people that you want to work with. And if you start working with people that you don't like to work with, well, then you don't like your job. You might not stay there for very long.
Yeah.
Love what you do.
Yep, and it's okay if everybody doesn't like your hair. It's
Yeah.
okay if everybody doesn't like your
That's
clothes.
not your client. They're going to find something they don't like about you anyway.
Sure.
So find the client that you can relate with.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that even for you, Justin, there's someone out there for everyone.
I appreciate that. I was losing hope.
No, yeah, for real though. And consistent branding across marketing platforms can increase your revenue by up to 23%. So if you're going to be yourself on social media, be yourself on your website, be yourself on your print marketing, be yourself, in your tonality. That's the other thing too, like if I go to, if I get or if I look you up and you look like a rock star dude, and then the message you send is like, "Dear first name, would you like to buy?" It's gotta the tone, right? Like, "Hey, what's up, rocker?" You know what I mean? Like, you gotta think about that stuff because it's the experience, and people want an experience. We're selling experiences now, so
but it's all intertwined.
It's all intertwined.
It's all intertwined. Like your social media has to be you when they met you at a networking event.
Yeah.
Like if you're all of a sudden your social media, you're in a tie and suit and
they're gonna be like, wait, this isn't the guy I thought you were.
You're just marching down the street doing the things that everybody else does on social media. Well, people can realize that that's a little fake.
Right.
So yeah, be you.
Totally, be you. I love that. And then, to wrap this all up, I mean, I know we've kind of been driving this way for the whole episode, but omnichannel marketing. When somebody says, I don't want to do social media, I don't want to focus on my website, I hate texting people because that's bothering them. I'm just going to send direct mail. I'm just going to do postcards. Can you have some success with that? Sure. But when you step up omnichannel, customer engagement is retained at an average of 85 or 89% higher. And omnichannel strategies are believed to offer 250% higher purchase frequency than single channel strategies because you are doing two things. One, you are increasing your chances of starting a relationship because you do have people that don't open mail. I love getting, if it's a handwritten letter, that's great, but if it's anything else,
Yeah,
is that the IRS? Yeah, you've seen my mail.
It sits on the counter for 3 weeks.
I hate mail.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I hate mail, and I know people that I love checking my mail, right?
A lot of people do.
A lot of people do.
Unless you're writing me a check.
Exactly. So, you're increasing, and then also, if I get, if Shauna is an agent and she sends me a text checking in with me, then 2 days later I see a great post on social media, and then the next day I get an email from her, and then I see a YouTube video where she's talking with, somebody. It's like, it gives you impression that your brand is bigger than it actually is.
I'm seeing you 1 time, 2 times, 3 times,
Right.
And so it's ingraining it in that person's head too, of like, oh, when I think of real estate, I think of, in your case, Shauna, right? But it's also leaving no stone unturned, right? Because again, it's how the consumer tendency wants to be contacted, right? Not about how you want to do things, right? I get it. We all want the phone to ring, right? The phone doesn't ring like it did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So you have to be the one that is getting them to call you or engaging in the way that they, being the consumers, want to be engaged. Because if we had a way that your phone's going to ring all the time, we'd be talking about that. But they'd rather look you up. They'd rather you fill out something online. You call them, right? They want you to do the work and them to do the least amount of work possible when choosing who to work with.
Exactly.
Now, they'll also want to do their own research and then ask you more questions. That's kind of where we're at in society. And so you're either going to jump on the ship or you're going to be left behind.
Right. And, at Agent Elite, just to say like, well, we do websites, we make websites. Yes, we do, but really, I mean, it's an all-inclusive omni-channel marketing platform. And, when people are like, well, I'll get the website, but then they're just going to try to upsell me and X, Y, like that's why we're talking about these stats. And look, I don't care if you choose Agent Elite, but for God's sakes, like do some sort of omni-channel marketing, because if you're shooting yourself in the foot. And if stuff doesn't work and you don't want to text people, that's okay. But, at least grab like 2 or 3 of these channels and do some experimentation, try some things out because, there was a big talk that Tom Ferry did maybe this is about 6 months ago now, but he was talking about how consumers are starting to shift towards well-recognized brands. And the reason that's happening is because there's so much competition. It's really easy to, anybody can start a business. I have a real estate license. Anybody can get a real estate license, but in order to be a trusted brand, there's no shortcut for doing that. No. There's no shortcut. You have to put,
And in reality, like any of these marketing channels, they've changed their algorithms so much so that you can't find a loophole or a shortcut.
Right.
So that way, for Google example, like their algorithm changes so that it weeds out people that are, not doing the right thing, but also makes it even across the board for businesses to have an even playing field.
Yep.
And I think, if I'm putting myself in a realtor's shoes, I can see, we've had a ton of talking points today. I can see how it can be overwhelming for many people, especially who aren't as tech savvy as the person next to them. But it's all about, you don't leap on top of a mountain. You just take it step by step.
Yeah.
Right. So, and there's another point too, but take it step by step. Go into Facebook, make sure you have a Facebook page, and then go on Instagram, make sure you have that set up, and go on. And it doesn't have to happen on the same exact day. It can happen throughout weeks ahead, months ahead of you.
How do you eat an elephant?
one
bite at a time, right?
Yeah, sure. If you're going to eat an elephant.
Yeah, maybe that was a poor metaphor for that.
That's great.
But do one step at a time. Don't try to conquer everything at once. And then that's where people, I think, become frustrated. They have this expectation, okay, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be like this, and they do everything all at one time, and then, okay, well, where's the sale? Where's the sale? Why didn't happen? I've been doing this for 3 months. Where's it at? It's like, okay, but what are you going to do the next 3 months, the 3 months after that? Like, create a habit.
I agree. Consistency and patience.
Consistency and patience over time.
Yeah. And, you may be saying, well, I already post on Facebook because that's like, let's say, I don't know what the number is, but let's say 80% of all real estate views for me come from Facebook. Well, okay, there's 20% that's still out there. So let's say, okay, I had a bunch of Skittles in my hand. Okay, I had 5 Skittles in my hand. And I tell you one of them, it's kind of morbid, but could kill you. Would you take one of those Skittles and eat it? Probably not, because you have 1 in 5 chance of not being here.
Yeah, I don't like those odds.
Right? Well, it's the same thing. So, like, why wouldn't you post on the other 20% that's out there? Because there's still
that could be one more deal this month. That could be
Yeah.
What hits
Yeah.
your goal? That could be another relationship that could
sure.
connect you with 10 other people.
Yeah, and we're not selling sneakers here. I mean, these are houses, right?
Or
Skittles,
Yeah.
or
I don't think anybody eats
arsenic injected
Skittles
Skittles.
anymore.
Yeah, Justin, if you try to give any of us Skittle, I'm gonna go warn people.
Well, apparently they're about to be banned in California, so you won't need to worry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a thing.
it's a thing.
Yeah, don't get too upset.
Okay. Luckily, Skittles aren't my favorite, but my kid might be a little upset.
Yeah.
She won't know.
She doesn't need them.
Yeah.
Right on. So then, okay, takeaways. What's the big takeaway from all these stats about omni-channel marketing? You know, I mean, we're not in business just to sell people stuff that they don't want to use because we want to make selfish, greedy money, right? We're here to lay the foundation, to read these stats off, to explain to real estate agents that, you know, you don't have to do any of this stuff, but we highly suggest you do because it's backed by research. And these are the things that are, you know, that successful brands and real estate agents are leveraging to grow their business. That's my key takeaway is just, you know, absorb this and get started with something. Pick a few channels. Make sure you have a non-broker provided website in addition to your broker provided website. That's fantastic. Shauna, Justin, what do you guys think before we close?
I mean, I was the same thing, kind of like get started. Was going to be like, just do it. Just get started. Block out 15 minutes a day to do something for your marketing, whether it's website, social, SEO, email. Just get started with it.
Exactly. And I think, you know, you'll probably get to a point where you need to hire the experts, but that'll be because you took one step at a time and executed. And then now all of a sudden you're seeing a lot of traction from that, to where you have to be that real estate agent, and then you have to focus on that more so than your marketing, and then there'll become a point where you have to let the experts do it, because it's getting too crazy for you to do both.
And that's
at
a
the
good
same
problem
time.
to have.
That's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
But I mean, you see where the execution is vital and all that. Just one step at a time. One step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time, and the value of you know, asking questions and coaching and having somebody there to help you along the way. If you guys need anything, or if you're listening to this and you're like, you know, there's some good ideas that these guys brought up, you know, go to Agent Elite on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, drop us a DM, check out, you know, make sure you subscribe to the podcast here because you know, every couple of weeks we drop a new episode.
Look at that omni-channel presence.
Look at that stuff right there. Exactly. You check out a demo. You know, I mean, if you don't believe, you know, 4,000 real estate agents wouldn't lie, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, but thanks for being you know, we appreciate your patronage and loyalty. And until the next episode, have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.